down in the depths of that tunnel. An FA official will have knocked on both doors and got them out into the tunnel. There's Bertie Mee, in fact, waiting for the knock perhaps to come out. Arsenal in the north dressing room, as you can see, regarded very often as the lucky dressing room, with Don Revie. Waiting to get the message. Leeds are already on their way. David Harvey, the young goalkeeper, going through, and Paul Reaney. Owen Hunter and Paul Madeley. So you at home can see more than the fans at Wembley can see at the moment. Frank McClintock obviously looking so very, very relaxed. Remembering that it was a point that Malcolm Allison made, that Leeds looked that little bit tense and uptight. Certainly McClintock himself looks so relaxed. There's George Graham. The substitute, Ray Kennedy. And so they went. For a reception, I suppose, that no other cup final sides have ever had, with 100,000 waiting, with millions across the world, and with the lads who've taken part in that centenary pageant at the mouth of the tunnel as well. Young and old, and look who they support. Reels of film to be devoured in just a moment when the teams make their entrance. And now Wembley gets its first sight of the 1972 Cup finalist Billy Bremner throwing balls into the crowd. There they go. Another part of this Leeds United routine, where they've been doing training stints on the pitch, throwing balls to the crowd. And so there's a prize for somebody in this Wembley crowd already. Past the flags, past the photographers, and now with the feel of this Wembley turf beneath their feet. Still chatting away, Frank McClintock and Billy Bremner. Arsenal in the red, and Leeds United nearest us. His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh now has arrived and waits to come on to have the teams presented to him. FA dignitaries in the background, Dr. Andrew Stephen and Dennis Follows, you saw. Her Majesty the Queen, who last came to a cup final in 1965, incidentally, when Leeds United lost.
To His Royal Highness the Duke of
His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent, who is President of the Football Association. And first is Arsenal to be presented to His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. Frank McClintock with Jeff Barnett, Bob McNabb and then Peter Storey. Having a word with Alan Ball, who came here with Everton and now, after that £220,000 transfer, here with Arsenal.
All right, George.
And manager Bertie Mee. must say that Arsenal contingent looks so relaxed. Now with Billy Bremner and Jack Charlton. And I suppose Jack Charlton will be doing the sort of job that Frank McLintock clearly is doing with Arsenal, keeping them relaxed and keeping them happy, using his experience to do that. There's Eddie Gray and Peter Lorimer, that man with a fierce shot. Mick Jones so improved, and Paul Madeley so reliable. Norman Hunter, Johnny Giles, the man who could really make all the difference in the middle of the field, with Billy Bremner. Paul Reaney and David Harvey. Don Revie. And the referee David Smith from Gloucester, with his two linesmen, John Hunting of Leicestershire and Charles Bond of Devon. So now the agony of the waiting is almost over, and the players can now begin to flex muscles. Don Revie saying, go to that end. Leeds are so superstitious, I'm wondering whether there was something in that. So the Arsenal side, cup holders, with Jeff Barnett in goal, of course, for the injured Bob Wilson. Number 2, Pat Rice. 3, Bob McNabb. 4, Peter Storey. 5, Frank McLintock. 6, Peter Simpson. 7, George Armstrong. 8, Alan Ball. 9, Charlie George. 10, John Radford. 11, George Graham. And the substitute is Ray Kennedy. And Leeds United, with that announcement just a half an hour or so just before the kick-off, leaving it to the very last moment, Don Revie, putting David Harvey in goal in place of Gary Sprigg. Paul Reaney, Paul Madeley, Billy Bremner, Jack Charlton, Norman Hunter, Peter Lorimer, Alan Clarke, Mick Jones, Johnny Giles and Eddie Gray, with Mick Bates, the substitute. Players obviously feeling that much more at home now that they can flex those muscles and get a ball at their feet. Pat Rice, the young Irish fullback for Arsenal. And a man who is bound to be under pressure, David Harvey, who in fact played in a cup final replay, not at Wembley, but at Old Trafford 2 years ago, when Chelsea beat Leeds in that replay. Only had a handful of games this season. Referee David Smith, a 45-year-old GPO linesman from Gloucestershire, and in fact when he goes to the middle, a little bit of cup history will be made, because when he calls Billy Bremner and Frank McLintock together for the toss-up, he's not going to use an ordinary coin. He'll use one minted in gold with the club badges of Arsenal and Leeds on each side. One on each side, so neither skipper in fact will have to call. There's the Arsenal skipper, Frank McLintock. 5 times at Wembley in cup finals, twice with Leicester City, and now for the 3rd time with Arsenal, League Cup and FA Cup. And Billy Bremner, who's been here before as well. So I suppose David Smith probably feels a little more at home now, just as the players with a ball at their feet, he with a whistle in his mouth. Well, we talk about David Harvey being under pressure. Jeff Barnett also, former Evertonian, came in when Bob Wilson was injured in that semi-final match at Villa Park. And so the toss-up, well, it looks as though Billy Bremner's been fooled by it. He didn't realise that they didn't have to call. So whoever comes down, David Smith explaining, whoever comes down, if it's an Arsenal badge that comes uppermost, it's they who get the call, or else it's Leeds. And it's Leeds. So Bob McNabb, not with the ITV panel today, but out there doing his stuff for Arsenal, and he's had a difficult season, so long with a pelvic injury, and he only came into the semi-final at about 2 hours' notice. Been taking pain-killing tablets before this game. And I suppose Arsenal fans will be saying how nice it is to see the red and white strip of Arsenal in this stadium. They wore, of course, yellow with blue shorts when they won last year. Manager Bertie Mee settled on his touchline seat with Steve Burtonshaw alongside him, Ray Kennedy the substitute also, and right next to Les Cocker and Don Revie. So in a moment this centenary cup final will be underway with Arsenal defending the goal to our left. And straight away a foul by Alan Clarke on Alan Ball. Blatant obstruction. And a free kick to Arsenal right away. It'll be Peter Simpson with it. And now George Graham. Bob McNabb getting his first touch on the far side. George Armstrong playing it nicely there and turning again. Armstrong. Ball. Graham. And that's Madeley on the end of that one for Leeds United. For Johnny Giles. Crane working overtime in the middle of the field, and the pass that finds Alan Clarke. Turned off towards Lorimer. And in fact, I thought McNabb went for that ball. But clearly he made contact, and is McNabb having his name taken? Bob McNabb having his name taken with 1 minute of the cup final gone. Jimmy.
Well, it's extremely difficult in the early stages to go for a tackle like that. You're committed to go, and I don't particularly want to be seen to be defending Bob McNabb because he's one of our panel, but honestly I thought he went for the ball there. He was fractionally late. Lorimer had beaten him with the ball, and that's of course why they collided. But an unlucky thing to happen. I don't think it was vicious. I think it was a fullback trying to do his job.
But an indication that David Smith, the referee, certainly is going to stand no nonsense at all. Well, that also, I would have thought, must have been a little bit of history as well. I can never recall a man in the Wembley Cup final having his name taken in the first minute. Bremner putting that one on. Barnett fisting it away well. And Leeds obviously will want to put Barnett under as much aerial pressure as they can early on. But Barnett came out of that one well. A good, powerful fist, even though he was unfairly impeded. Graham, a little flick sideways to Bob McNabb. Bremner in quickly for Leeds United, and McNabb going through. Now to Charlie George. McNabb, touch back for Armstrong, who never really has quite shown his best in cup finals, Armstrong. McNabb again, ball going willingly down the left for him. George Graham, plenty of Leeds United players back, and over that Leeds United crossbar, just as Leeds are going to put early pressure on Barnett. So Harvey will find that he's being put under pressure by Arsenal just as often as Arsenal can do it. Had only a handful of games, David Harvey, but he's conceded only one goal in the last 5 for Leeds United. Lorimer obviously no worse the wear for that assault from McNabb. McClintock and Jones going for this one, and McClintock forced into an aerial error. Jeff Barnett. Radford getting under this one, and Hunter too. Armstrong hoping to pounce, and 2 feet were high, but they were both playing the ball, and Reaney got there first. And Arsenal's throw. Graham with it. Jack Charlton in first, but again forced into an error by Radford's determination. Story. Certainly Lorimer went very hard in on Story there, but he came away with the ball, and there's the ball just beyond the reach of Alan Ball to Eddie Gray, man of the match in the cup final 2 years ago when he virtually destroyed Chelsea, and he was pulled down there. Another free kick to Leeds. Now it's with Giles. Gray again, the man who really could be a match winner for Leeds United, going past Ball, pulled down by Charlie George, and another free kick. I don't think Eddie Gray is too worried by it. Had some rain on this pitch at lunchtime. It'll slip a little bit. It'll keep the game very pacey indeed. Barnett very agile in that goal as Giles punts one towards him and the linesman's flag was up for offside. I saw it, says David Smith, but Arsenal are in possession and we should get on with the game. Armstrong and Reaney having quite a physical little tussle there. Armstrong trying to go in, but Hunter getting it only as far as McNabb. Graham very deep, taking it up. There's evidence of the slippery turf. Armstrong. Radford. And down he goes at the feet of Charlton, and it's Arsenal's free kick. Taking their time, looking for men. Simpson to take it. Story's gone right up. Charlie George is also a target man there. And Harvey gathering it. Now Gray from a very deep position. Ball backing off him. Madeley, that tall and majestic stride of Paul Madeley's. Giles. A good ball that very nearly came off. If anything, Gray was a little back on his heels. Alan Ball. McClintock making the run. Oh, but it wasn't a good one because Giles gets possession. The little flick there for Mick Jones. Gray away on the left. Kept that in, just kept it in. And Barnett shouting for it from Rice. Reaney and Armstrong. And Armstrong, in fact, nodding it inside for Charlie George. Armstrong tried to play that in for Alan Ball, but Jack Charlton away. Simpson. Story. What a battle in the middle of the field with Story and Bremner and Giles and Graham all involved. Armstrong. And the whistle had gone. Radford fouls. A foul on Hunter. Bremner. The three midfield men there from Leeds United ranged alongside each other, Bremner, Giles and Gray, but now it's with Madeley. Giles. So far, neither side really has been able to subject these goalkeepers to any great pressure. With just over 7 minutes gone and no score. McClintock to Ball. Arsenal's throw. Radford. And another Arsenal throw. No, it's given to Leeds. Hunter. Well, that'll get Jones stretching his legs and McClintock stretching him alongside him. Still Jones, so improved. And Alan Clarke. Jones again. Reaney and Charlton. Gray. Lorimer on the far side getting up, and George Graham right back there for Arsenal. Giles. Noticeable how Story is pursuing Giles everywhere. That's where there's going to be one major area of conflict this afternoon. Ball. Trying to turn it towards Radford and turned very nicely, and there's Story making his burst. Charging into Madeley. The claim that Madeley's feet were rather high. It looked rather a desperate charge by Story, but David Smith gives the free kick to Arsenal. So that's how we saw it from behind Harvey's goal. That's behind David Harvey's goal. The Leeds United wall with Peter Story amongst them, and Radford too, and not back 10 yards by any means. George.
both sides seem a little anxious to get pressure on the other goalkeeper, but they certainly won't get pressure on them by shooting as wildly as that. Being over anxious to do it is not always the way to bring it about. A little more calm play might really get some fine attacking moves going. Nothing in it at the moment, the referee on top.
So McClintock, a great inspirer of men. Graham. To Story. Rice. Story again. Graham. Armstrong trying to take possession of that one, but he won't keep it in, I think. Rice of all people right over there, and he does keep it in. Made a long bounding run, Pat Rice, from this side of the field. In fact, the claim being that Clarke was backing in on McClintock, one of those situations where it always looks six of one, half a dozen of the other. But now Arsenal. That's the Leeds United fans getting underway as Mick Jones now breasts it down to Alan Clarke. Simpson doing good work there at the back for Arsenal again. Ball. Flick with the outside of the boot and then with the inside of the boot from Radford. Ball again. Simpson. Radford. Alan Ball. There's nobody there. He's busy and buzzing about Alan Ball, and he's somehow got to keep tabs on Billy Bremner in the middle of the field. McNabb. Radford. And again it wouldn't go for Arsenal, it went beyond Ball to Giles. Bremner. Foul by Graham on Bremner. Leeds United's free kick. Billy Bremner, you'll notice, with a short-sleeved shirt on. All the other Leeds players, in fact, are wearing long sleeves, but that's one of Billy's little superstitions. Jones going in on this one, but it's over everybody's head. And so it's Arsenal's goal kick. So Jeff Barnett with the goal kick. And the corner given. No, the goal kick given. In fact, the linesman was down there. Good play by Peter Simpson. It looked as though Lorimer had got past him, most certainly. But Alan Ball, that would have been bad luck for him. The bad pass that he couldn't quite keep in, that kept Leeds on their way. Radford backing in on Hunter. No goals so far, and no shortage of free kicks either. Jones winning that one in the air. Rice turning it back to Barnett. Gray, linesman's flag up, but he's put it down again. Arsenal getting possession with George Armstrong. And again, those long telescope legs of Jack Charlton sticking out. But George Graham. Hunter nodding that one down. Story trying to get in. Clarke going in there as well, but Story, in fact, just pushing the ball back as far as McClintock. Charlie George, McClintock. And a foul by Hunter on George. And Hunter being called to referee David Smith. A smile, but I would have thought that it wasn't a smiling matter in the eyes of David Smith. Neither was it in the eyes of Charlie George, I would think. But it's Charlie George then placing the ball, Alan Ball alongside him, with Arsenal's free kick. Ball laying it off for McClintock. Driving one! My goodness, that nearly got through Harvey. Skidding, and it seemed to have him going the wrong way. And the youngster recovered beautifully to save Leeds United there. So a very good save indeed by Harvey. He'll feel better for that. So Hunter with the free kick for Leeds United. Clarke nodding it on. Giles waiting to pounce and McClintock getting above him. Graham. Reaney, always somebody available for Leeds United when a defender looks as though he's going to be in trouble. Bremner skipping past Charlie George. And playing it wide for that ally in the middle of the field, Johnny Giles. Giles just a little clumsy there, but he got away with it. Reaney, Giles. And Reaney continuing on the overlap. Good play by Reaney, and also good play at the back by Peter Simpson once more. Good galloping run by Reaney though, and he crossed it well. But Leeds United's corner. Jack Charlton has gone to the near post again. That very dangerous position where he scored so many useful goals. It's the corner. In towards Jack Charlton again. Barnett under a lot of pressure, and unfair pressure. Dangerous customer coming up for these corners, and Jack Charlton having a word with the linesman, thinking that he didn't in fact foul Jeff Barnett. Jack Charlton back in his defensive role. Madeley, but Story poking it through there for Charlie George. And Story had gone on, but Hunter had gone with him. Norman Hunter. Brilliant sunshine now. It's really traditional cup final weather after the cloud and the rain of the last 24 hours. Madeley. Nobody coming for him until Story tries to bar his way. I suppose Leeds claiming that the referee should have allowed that to go on with Madeley keeping possession, play the advantage. But now Gray. Rice doing his utmost to force him out all the time, and the linesman flagging that there was some pushing by Rice on Gray. I think this will probably be a free kick to Leeds United. And again, Jack Charlton lumbering up into that area. John Radford's gone right back with him. So Gray with the kick for Leeds United. A deep one. Barnett's got to go for it, and he does with his fist. Giles trying to turn it back again. George Graham, very cool. Not at all sure that Barnett was as cool himself. George. But Arsenal at the moment coming forward, making very little progress against a very well-organised and informed Leeds United defence. Ball to George Graham. Still George Graham. Oh, and he almost flicked that to ball. But now it's the chance for Leeds United with a counter-attack. Clarke. Bremner. And Reaney. Peter Lorimer. And Reaney again with the overlap. This time Armstrong, such a ferocious little worker, had gone back with him. Story. Throw to Leeds. George Armstrong. Foul by Radford on Reaney. And Jack Charlton drives a good long free kick. Bremner there to nod it on, and Barnett to watch it go by. Cheerful character Jeff Barnett, with a chance of a lifetime to come in and play in a cup final. Hunter to Madeley. And now Gray. Jones. McClintock using all his effort, determination written across his face, but in fact conceding a free kick. Certainly the referee and linesman between them letting nothing that smacks of physical aggression get by. There's Barnett's view as Hunter now prepares to take this free kick for Leeds United. Towards the near post, and Barnett gathering it well as Clarke went across his eye line. Bradford knocking it back for Story. Graham always struggling to get to that one, but McNabb now to Simpson. The long ball played forward first time, but Reaney read it so well for Leeds. Story. Free kick against Giles. 25 minutes gone, no score. Leeds having rather the better of it, but Arsenal with the one shot by McClintock coming close to scoring. Rice to Ball. Ball v Bremner, and they both go tumbling down. What a contest between these two. The same sort of stature, the same sort of character, Alan Ball and Billy Bremner. Great competitors. Giles. And Bremner. And Eddie Gray. One to try and get Clarke away. McClintock. Oh, good bit of play by McClintock. Judge that to a nicety. Simpson. Ball. Rice available, and here's Pat Rice. Inside for Charlie George. Story's gone on. He showed far too much of that to Hunter. Giles now for Leeds. Jones. The short one to Reaney. Lorimer. Lorimer now to Reaney and Simpson this time. McNabb turning it off. That's where Arsenal were available for each other, playing well as a team. Story. And Armstrong has come to this side of the field and has got the ball as well. Madeley giving him no peace. McClintock. Graham. And Rice. Armstrong again. Arsenal looking a little more fluid at this moment, but not with that sort of pass by Story straight to Bremner. Hunter. Lorimer. McClintock now for Arsenal, leaving it for George Armstrong. Now McClintock. Ball. Armstrong, still McClintock down that touchline for him, and that's the ball for Frank McClintock. Armstrong wanting a quicker cross, I would think, than that, and Jack Charlton getting down to nod it away. Hunter. Clarke. Rice. Ball. All between his legs, and Clarke carried on into Ball. And the referee calling Alan Clarke over. Wasn't prepared to let Arsenal get on with it quickly because he badly wanted to make his point to Alan Clarke. David Smith stern and disciplined and letting nothing go by. Simpson now for Arsenal. Straight to Bremner. To Giles. He played that pass to Giles practically without looking. That's the sort of understanding those two have. Reaney. Lorimer. George Graham running into a bit of trouble, but off Eddie Gray for Arsenal's throw. Graham to Ball. George is ahead and Armstrong is unmarked on the right. George and Radford are in the middle. They are the two men he's got to aim for. It's deep towards Radford going in, and Harvey gathering it well at the far post. But a lovely run by Armstrong, taking a good position and a good deep cross. Bremner now, chased by Charlie George. Almost arrogant little back flick there, and what a good piece of play by Madeley. Faced by Rice. Still Madeley. Barnett guarding that near post. McClintock making sure that nothing gets by him. Gray. Gray's got the legs of Story there, but he ran it too far. The linesman was flagging. And I think, if anything, that's going to be a free kick to Leeds United in an area that could be very dangerous for Arsenal, just outside their area. Jack Charlton's gone up. But he's not gone to the line. It probably means that Giles will float it back, and indeed he has. And Radford, in fact, got a foot to it before Charlton could. And Armstrong, Ball. Cup final now in this centenary year, really beginning to flow. Played to McClintock. McNabb. And now to Armstrong again with a chance to tease another little cross in, but behind everybody, and Madeley to kill it for Leeds. Giles. Oh, I suppose Johnny Giles makes half a dozen bad balls in a season, and that was one of them. Straight to Armstrong. Towards Radford now, and Harvey getting it at the second go. And I think the referee quite rightly saying that Radford was going for the goalkeeper without looking for the ball. So a good decision by referee David Smith.
David Smith seems to be keeping a sharp eye on what's going around both goalkeepers, almost as if he's got some sympathy with their position. He doesn't want to let any forward get away with anything.
Sure that he didn't get a clear header there. McClintock doing some good work at the middle of the defence there, having shown recently that he does some work down the wings, both wings that is. Ball now for Arsenal. Charlie George. And Charlton with him. Flicked it back just a little too hard for Harvey, and so it's Arsenal's corner. Simpson making a move up, the big man from the back. For this corner, number 6, there he is. Charlie George in the 6-yard area. George Graham right in there, watched by Madeley. Eyes everywhere now in this Leeds United defence. Simpson began to make a run towards the near post. And now it's Radford making that run. And Ball! Oh, and it was kicked off the line! Miraculously, Armstrong whacking it in again. And Reaney, a magnificent save off the line from Alan Ball. Graham. Well, that really got the Wembley crowd buzzing. Lorimer. So although Leeds have had by far the better of the play, a shot from McClintock that nearly got through, and a shot from Ball kicked off the line. Where it counts, Arsenal at certainly a level. Gray now. Clarke. Clarke and Bremner. And a throw to Arsenal. Very relieved, Billy Bremner, the lead skipper, with that marvellous kick off the line by Reaney. Bremner. And Giles. And a foul by Story on Giles. Spotted again instantly by the referee. Never alert, Peter Story, that characteristic stoop of his when free kicks are taken. Watching Bremner all the while. And if Story isn't watching Bremner, then Ball is. Giles, though, with the free kick for Leeds. Deep towards Jack Charlton, coming in fast. But again, Simpson, who's having a fine game at the back, getting there first for Arsenal. Lorimer now. Radford not really getting that ball away when he should have done. And now Bob McNabb. Alan Ball. Inside for Charlie George. Ball. And McNabb. Better looking football there from Arsenal. Cutting inside now. And that's Bremner. Good bit of play by Billy Bremner to find Alan Clarke. But three Arsenal defenders are back. It's 3 against 3 now, as Clarke really goes aggressively at them. And Jones! And a fraction wide! What a marvellous aggressive run though by Clarke.
Well, in fact, Jones looks as if he'd lost the ball then, but no, it ran to his foot, and you can see it sneaked by that post, I think, with Jeff Barnett down rather too late to stop it anyway.
Maley hurdling over Armstrong's challenge towards Lorimer on the far side, getting his head to it. McClintock again, quite in control at the back for Arsenal. Graham and Charlie George. Bremner, handball. George protesting it was on his chest, but Leeds getting the free kick. Mick Jones, such a dangerous customer anywhere near that penalty area, saying there I think he wants it in the air, which I'm sure he'll get it in the air from Jack Charlton. Graham. George up well to nod it down for Ball. And ball taken by Hunter. And the referee is feeling for the book. And it looks as though Hunter, warned once, is now going to have his name in the book. So Bob McNabb got his name in the book after a minute, and after 36 minutes the name of Norman Hunter goes in as well.
We can watch that now in slow motion, and you can see that Norman Hunter does leave his foot there. I think he had a chance to pull it out if he wanted to. I don't think Alan Ball's seriously hurt, but David Smith is being fair, I think, to both sides and said that is a name take.
Manager Bertie Mee, on the left of the picture Steve Burtonshaw, the coach, and on the right Ray Kennedy of Arsenal. And up in Scotland at Hampden Park, the final of the Scottish Cup. At the moment the score stands at Celtic 2, Hibernian 1, and Ball is hobbling. Celtic 2, Hibernian 1. Rice, Radford, Giles, the long one clear. McClintock, though, for Arsenal. Graham. Giles. Paul Reaney. Billy Bremner. Challenged by Ball and beaten by Ball. But that pass from Graham did Ball no favours. Reaney towards Mick Jones. Nodded down for Alan Clarke, and he wanted to catch that one on the volley. Down he goes at the feet of Story. And Leeds get a free kick. Almost central. 25 yards out. In a situation where Peter Lorimer, in the last few years, the hardest hitter of the ball probably in the First Division, has hit some really tremendous goals. Now, will Lorimer pierce this Arsenal and Leeds wall now? A bit of jockey and a bit of jostling there. Arsenal wanting to get a sight of it. And David Smith having a fair bit of trouble organising this wall. Leeds want to play their part in it. Arsenal want to keep them out. And above all, David Smith wants them back 10 yards. So what does Jeff Barnett think about it? Giles, in fact, playing it. Oh, and they missed out on that one. Then Lorimer hitting one! Oh, and it nearly got through. Barnett got down late from Lorimer. Fumbled it.
Well, in fact, Jeff Barnett has looked a little edgy on rare occasions when he's had to touch the ball, and he showed here that he hadn't much idea where that ball was, and it hit his knee and went for the corner.
So now back live with the corner for Leeds by Johnny Giles. Under that crossbar again, Barnett under pressure, and he's dropped it, and he's got it.
Of the two keepers, there's no doubt about it that David Harvey has really settled. He made a fine save from McClintock there, and Jeff Barnett still looks edgy to me.
So Barnett under pressure, and Leeds know it. Story with the throw for Arsenal. Ball played off for Armstrong. And now Eddie Gray. Beautiful play by Gray, and Graham, who's doing a lot of good work there in the middle, coming back into the back four to help out with the pass back to Barnett. Now McClintock off in chase, and Barnett is out, and he slipped. Charlie George. And I suppose there's nothing more unsettling than having maybe a nervous goalkeeper behind you. It seems to ripple right through a defence when they know that maybe they can't entirely rely on the man behind them, although Barnett's had one or two good punches away. Charlie George waited and didn't collect. Ball making the run for that throw, and Gray has gone with him. Played for Armstrong. Radford shrugging because he wanted a quicker cross than that, and now Maidley's in the way. Jones. Tangle of bodies, and the referee deciding it's Arsenal's throw. Story to Graham. Peter Story to Pat Rice. Radford. But Leeds again snapping shut in defence, giving Arsenal no sight of Harvey in the goal, and now it's Lorimer to take up the run, and McClintock spotting that he'd shown just a shade too much of it. Radford. Reaney in again very quickly. Such a quick and decisive full-back, Paul Reaney. Missed the 1970 Cup final because of a broken leg. So it's Giles again for Leeds United. Lorimer nodded on. And Jones striding there, but Simpson striding with him. Jack Charlton coming up undetected, except by Lorimer. So Lorimer again. Good intelligent ball there by Lorimer to open it up for Madeley to turn it in again. Rice nodding that one off. Hunter. Everybody bar the Leeds goalkeeper now in the Arsenal half of the field. Giles. Clarke. Not that down for the on-rushing Giles, but he nodded it wide. And a free kick given against Leeds United for the foul by Clarke on Story. Story needing just a little bit of attention from Fred Street. He's checking that he's all right, a hard man himself. Rice with the kick. Story. Hunter to take the Leeds United throw. Hunter. Torini. Gray, who hasn't shown as much of himself as he did in the Cup final 2 years ago when he mesmerised a Chelsea defence for so long in the first half. But now he's away, but stopped that time by Story. Ball trying to get to it, but again those long legs that seem to grow longer every year from Jack Charlton, getting out there and scooping the ball away. Radford. Physically holding off Jack Charlton. I would have thought, if anything, that's got to be a free kick to Leeds, but it's been given to Arsenal. So Simpson to take it. Charlie George running wide and turning it in first time, Harvey. And a good throw by Harvey to Clarke. Lorimer. So Jones was getting in there when Simpson was trying to get a feeling of his bearings, but Simpson got his bearings right in the end. The last few seconds of the first half still goalless, though it wouldn't have been but for a magnificent kick off the line by Paul Reaney from Alan Ball. Lorimer to Gray. Cat and mouse there, cat and mouse. Lorimer versus McNabb, waiting for one to make the injudicious move, but Lorimer in fact finding Madeley. Giles. That's McNabb on the far side, losing out to Eddie Gray, and now with Peter Lorimer inside for Bremner, turned again, and McNabb rather clumsily there, and across the goal there, and not it in. No, against the crossbar by Clarke. Oh, what a let-off for Arsenal. They were all over the place. Lorimer played his part, and Clarke, this man here, finally nodding it against the crossbar. And there we go. There's the McNabb doesn't quite get to it. Lorimer across the goal. Clarke somehow ducking down against the crossbar, and Rice knocking it away. While you've been seeing that, it's a free kick for Leeds United, and again with Peter Lorimer. Again, Jack Charlton has gone up, and again Leeds United want to put pressure on these dying seconds. Radford right back there to give away the corner. No, that must have... Jack Charlton is furious there with the linesman and referee. He felt sure that was a corner, and I agree with him. But between them, they've given the kick to Arsenal. And Billy Bremner is being booked for something he said. Billy Bremner being booked by the referee, obviously for something he said. So McNabb, Hunter and Bremner have gone into the book. Story. Giles. And Lorimer again. Leeds finishing this half with a bang. They've looked very impressive for most of this game. Somehow, with Arsenal playing well at the back, Simpson and McClintock particularly, but there's Clarke fighting for the ball for all he's worth and winning it from Alan Ball, no mean fighter himself. Gray. Now Ball. Good bit of skill there on the ground by Alan Ball. The ball now to Armstrong, the last seconds of the first half. In fact, we played nearly 3 minutes of injury time. Still Armstrong. Bremner's head. And Armstrong's head, and finally David Harvey. Both linesmen have confirmed to the referee that by their watches the 45 minutes are up. And there goes the whistle for half-time. A goalless first half, where Leeds have looked the better side and were desperately unlucky. Jeff Barnett under a lot of pressure and looking nervous, with Clarke heading against the bar, but Paul Reaney, the number 2 for Leeds, kicking off the line from Alan Ball. But there it is, no goals. A half-time score of Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0. And away they go. Reaney. Arsenal always, as Malcolm said, likely to gamble a little more. Leeds United always seeming to take the situation that half a loaf probably is better than none. Now McNabb to Alan Ball. McNabb again. Charlie George. He tried to press that down for Radford, but it was away off target, and Bremner going in hard on Charlie George, and the referee blowing his whistle no fewer than 5 times to keep him apart. And foot up against Charlie George on Bremner. And Charlie George obviously said something to the referee as he went away. And is this the fourth name to go into the book? Charlie George, his name goes into the book. Well, this too is setting some sort of record. That's the fourth name. McNabb and Hunter and Bremner now joined in the first minute of the second half by Charlie George. It'll be Jack Charlton with the free kick for Leeds United. A beautifully driven one deep. So Barnett, I wonder what sort of words of comfort came his way in the dressing room at half-time. Comfort and encouragement is what he needed. Hunter nodding it away. Rice. But now it's with Hunter. Showing a lot of cool there, Norman Hunter, with Charlie George and Armstrong around him. And now Clarke away, stopped again, with Simpson showing the same brand of coolness and finding Alan Ball. You could hardly have believed, after the miserable morning of heavy rain and wind and dark cloud, that we should have such a beautiful afternoon here. The players really sweating it out there now at Wembley as Ball finds Story. George Graham. And George Armstrong, but it'll never get to him. Oh, well, he was a bit lucky. It fell his way. Alan Ball. Armstrong. And now Leeds with Madeley putting it to Giles and turning it on for Jones. Throw to Leeds. Eddie Gray. And a throw again to Leeds United. A little bit muddled, a little bit inconsequential, a little bit haphazard there, but now Story finding Radford. And over on the right, begging for the ball, is George Armstrong. Oh, he jinks his way there past Hunter, but the cross, Harvey, in fact, he wasn't under a lot of pressure. There were no Arsenal players around him. He very nearly poured it down at the foot of an Arsenal forward. Clarke, good header down there by Alan Clarke to Peter Lorimer. And Clarke well offside. Clarke furious with Lorimer, I think, for not playing it a little sooner, but it was he who went offside and not Peter Lorimer. You could lip read that, I think, don't wait. He wanted it played a lot quicker into the middle. Radford, but nodding it on straight to Jack Charlton for Leeds. Bremner. To Madeley. And that's McClintock's ball. To Pat Rice. Turned in for Alan Ball. Played nicely there for Rice again to start one of those runs of his. But then running into trouble. And so it's Billy Bremner for Leeds, and still nothing to choose between these two sides. 0-0 with 5 minutes of the second half gone. Clarke to take it up for Leeds. Reaney and Gray. A little burst of acceleration there by Gray, and he couldn't keep it in. It was over the line. It was over the line. But a very impressive little piece of acceleration there by Eddie Gray that took him past the Arsenal defender and gave him just a yard or so to try and get it over. McNabb. Oh, and there was a misunderstanding there between McNabb and Ball, and Clarke gets Bremner. And now it's with George Graham. Very deep indeed. Alan Ball. Simpson. Madeley. McClintock. George Graham. To McNabb. 3 Arsenal men ahead of him, and that wasn't a ball that did Graham any good, but he made something of it. Armstrong. Ball. Certainly Arsenal prepared to press more men forward than Leeds seem to, or seem to want to, and as Rice now, left-footed into that goal area again. McNabb right in there, and into the side netting. There really was a good example of the way Arsenal were pushing men forward, and Bob McNabb, who rarely gets into a scoring position.
A good cross, in fact, from Pat Rice there, right across deep, and Bob McNabb tried to get it in from that angle. I don't think he could have done that. There was a squeal there from the centre of the goal while the ball wasn't headed back, but it was a brave attempt.
Simpson. And now Mick Jones. But McClintock's so positive about everything he's done this afternoon, and Jones couldn't withstand that challenge by the number 5 Frank McClintock then. Billy Bremner then with the throw for Leeds United. Clarke. McNabb chasing him right across the edge of that penalty area. Giles now to Madeley. Now Leeds have got a few more men forward. Giles. Oh, that was beautifully cut out by Radford. 3 against 3. The ball for Charlie George. Giles coming across to cover. Radford's gone on, and he wanted it a little quicker probably. Rice leaving it for Armstrong. Now Leeds are back in some strength, the white shirts, and it's Gray who stops Armstrong. Peter Lorimer now. Clarke. A lot of determination there between Clarke and McClintock, and it goes for Alan Ball. Charlie George losing his way a little, and Madeley to take it up now for Leeds United. A fiercely competitive match and nothing between the two sides. Jones now for Leeds. And McNabb only half stopping him. Jones getting it across, and Clarke going in, and Alan Clarke has put Leeds ahead.
Mick Jones who made that goal, as he does so often unselfishly. Bob McNabb just couldn't stop the cross. Clarke comes steaming in there, headed it with his feet on the ground, and there can be no blame attached to Barnett for that header. Powerful, right in the corner, a winner all the way from Alan Clarke.
Superb goal then, created really by those two magnificent strikers for Leeds United. Jones who made the cross, and Clarke who did the finishing work. And now Armstrong for Arsenal to Radford. Rice, Charlie George taking something in the back, but it's George Graham now. Ball to Graham. And now Charlie George, a flick on for Graham, and he couldn't get any momentum there. But Graham, who goes well on those 1-2s and very nearly caught it well. It's always been a fiercely competitive match with so little to choose between the sides, and now it really looks as though it might blossom. So after 10 minutes of the second half, Arsenal 0, Leeds United 1, and Alan Clarke, the man who scored. McClintock. Graham nodding it on, but Harvey quick to pounce. Taking a buffeting there from Charlie George. And the whistle has gone.
I must say Charlie George seems to be making very little contribution to this game. It's said that he's often sick before matches, particularly big ones, and he doesn't seem to have the physical strength to make a contribution. He's doing very little up front.
Simpson doing plenty at the back and winning that ball well in the air again for Arsenal. Hunter. And now Lorimer. Bremner right in there. And Storey going with him, and a good piece of defensive covering by Peter Storey, if they can ever disentangle themselves. So it's Leeds United's corner. And that was Bremner taking it in his stride, and Storey doing good covering. Lorimer now with the corner, well, he's from the corner, to Eddie Gray. A little chip again. Jones trying to get ahead to that one. Madeley on the far side, turning it back well. Barnett under pressure from Jack Charlton. And a foul given against Jack Charlton. Well, in fact, the flag was up and it looked as though the whistle had gone. But Barnett gathered it well, and he's had it kicked out of his hands. That surely wasn't dangerous play, though, by Billy Bremner. Well, with Leeds up, he can afford to smile.
Interesting to see Paul Madeley there up the left wing. What a marvellous all-round player he is. He had a first-time cross on it. Oh, there's the action replay of that. All over again. It's the Banks' best incident. And you can see, I think, that the foot was a bit high.
Don Revie well pleased, a man with so many disappointments over the seasons, when Leeds have threatened to win so much and have often fallen very close to their last hurdle. Graham now fighting for that ball, as Arsenal have got to do. Simpson. And Simpson going on. Turned in for Charlie George. But Giles buzzing about at his heels. Simpson again. George Graham trying to get onto the right foot. Storey trying to hit one. Well, in fact, he changed his mind and tried to find Radford. And Madeley letting it go over for the goal kick to Leeds United. A less happy scene, and Steve Burtonshaw clearly wanting a little more effort still from Arsenal. May have just caught a glimpse of Steve Burtonshaw trying to make himself heard. That probably is why he can't, with Leeds United fans going crazy there. McClintock beaten in the air by Jones. Lorimer trying to take it up. McClintock, ball, Rice, and McClintock. Oh, and he very nearly lost it. And Lorimer just over, but the whistle had gone. McClintock physically holding back Lorimer. He was very cool, and then he lost it, and for a moment lost his head. And the free kick.
We can look at the incident now. Frank McClintock getting himself in a real tizzy there. In fact, he realises he's lost the ball and he's got to do something about it. Turning round, trying to hold him do anything, and giving away a free kick.
So Giles poised over the ball, the wall facing him again. Giles then sweeping it wide towards Madeley, nodded back, but the whistle had gone again. I think they were encroaching within the 10 yards. And so the free kick will have to be taken again. Armstrong, George, Graham, and ball in the wall. Barnett's view. And Giles playing it wide now for Lorimer to hammer one just over. What a tremendous shot this Lorimer's got. Anything from in 25 yards range. And it really is extremely dangerous indeed. Charlie George turns skillfully there for Alan Ball. Radford not having the happiest of games, and Madeley got in there before him to Giles, and now to Lorimer. Leeds in full flight now. McNabb storming to get back. A good ball there for Jones, and he couldn't quite get it in. Lorimer to turn it back again, and McClintock getting it away. George Graham to Radford. Graham are not on. And Arsenal's throw. Simpson. Not a good ball, skidding off the head of Hunter to David Harvey. Quarter of an hour of the second half gone, and Leeds a goal ahead and looking very promising for them at the moment. Clarke. Bremner. Clarke. And a goal kick. So Jeff Barnett with the goal kick. Hunter charging in on the back of ball. And Arsenal wanting to get on with it. Rice to Radford. Giles cutting it out. Ball, though, gathering it and finding Rice. Back to McClintock. Nice dummy there on Mick Jones by Frank McClintock. Turned towards Radford, who's well offside.
Arsenal are fighting back very well, but they don't seem to have that punch up front. Radford is not really in touch. Armstrong marooned on a wing, and Charlie George not in touch at all.
Simpson, though, losing nothing in the air. And there might be a temptation soon to try Kennedy, the substitute. Reaney. And Charlie George coming back to defend as well, and winning the ball from Paul Reaney. George Graham to Bob McNabb. Clarke. George going in very strongly there on Clarke. And the free kick given to Leeds United. Clarke gone down. Do you think there might be a temptation to bring on Kennedy now?
I think if the score remains at 1-0, positively that they will do that, because neither of the strikers up front is really in touch. They're not a threat to Leeds. The rest of the side can play promising football, but it's all petering out when it gets into the dangerous areas.
So Jack Charlton then with the free kick for Leeds. Towards Alan Clarke. And Clarke getting up well. Lorimer. A touch off to Bremner. Ball going in. And Bremner keeping possession, but Ball fighting back again. And finally Ball taking it from the back. And the linesman flagging and the referee whistling. And Ball trying to lift Bremner to his feet and being pushed away by Clarke. I think Alan Ball feeling that Bremner was shamming a little bit and getting spoken to by referee David Smith. And a shake of hands at the end. All right, ref, he says, you needn't do anything else about it.
Well, there it is. There's the tackle behind. Without any doubt, Alan Ball lost patience there and had a kick at the back of Billy Bremner. But I think he proved his point, although maybe we could argue he shouldn't do it, by pulling him to his feet and showing that he was all right. It's lovely that it ended in a handshake.
But it's another free kick then to Leeds United, this time Peter Lorimer to take it. A deep one where Mick Jones is poised on the far side. Barnett getting it and holding it. Rice to Armstrong. McClintock linking up. George Graham. Alan Ball and Rice. And now they're trying to get Armstrong away down the right, but the ball into touch. Leeds supporters in very good voices, indeed they ought to be. 25 minutes to go, and Leeds leading by a goal to nil. McClintock versus Clarke. And the linesman flagging for an offside decision against Alan Clarke. And not too much noise coming from that end of the field where we have the Arsenal supporters. Rice with the kick. Radford winning a good one. Charlie George, no. Graham. And McNabb. And Harvey there. Body behind that ball. I think it would have just gone beyond the far post. Lorimer. Giles. Clarke nodding it on. Jones hoping to pounce in on something, and sandwiched there by a combination of Simpson and McClintock, right on the edge of the area. Nothing to spare there. And by the way, referee David Smith has been taking names for dissent. It would pay Frank McClintock and Peter Simpson and the rest of them to accept the decision. They're not going to change it. And Les Cocker coming on to look at Mick Jones.
And to me, there was no question about it that it was a fair decision. Ball flicked on well, and Mick Jones showed his strength and power there and was shoved off the ball firmly by Simpson. I don't really see how players can protest when they know they've stopped a man in full flight by committing a foul and then still protest to the referee that it wasn't a foul in the first place. Clearly a foul, a good decision, and we'll wait for the free kick.
Looks so David Smith's finding it hot work as well. Jones has had a fine season for Leeds United. The wall anything but 10 yards back. To Lorimer, and straight into the wall. Giles again. Oh, and Eddie Gray ready to pounce on that one. Stopped by Charlie George to Alan Ball, but he's a lone ranger up there, nobody up with him. And 4 Leeds United defenders beautifully placed for Hunter to find Reaney, or rather Madeley and now Reaney, and Jack Charlton. Nice touch by Charlton. Eddie Gray. Clarke with Reaney going up outside him. Gray again. Clarke. Leeds to Billy Bremner. And now McNabb. Graham. Armstrong. Radford making a good positive run. That really wasn't the ball. McNabb was always being shadowed by Clarke. And there was a good one to Johnny Giles. Madeley. Gray. Well stopped by Simpson. What a fine game Peter Simpson's having, and it's Alan Ball now to George Graham. Ball. Simpson making one of his rare excursions out of defence. His strength taking him through that challenge, and now Alan Ball, will he let one go? It'll come to Charlie George! Oh, against the crossbar! Simpson! Well, that was desperately unlucky for Arsenal, and probably if that ball had gone to anyone other than the defender, that might well have gone in.
Well, in fact, that's why Charlie George is in the team. The ball came to him, he had no time at all to get that shot in, but there's Simpson's right foot. Naturally a left-footed player, and it was a difficult one to hit for any kind of player, and he scooped it over the bar. The first flash of genius we've seen from Charlie George.
Mick Jones. And now Giles. Madeley. Well, that should give Arsenal some encouragement. One flash like that and they could be level again, but now Hunter, so reliable for Leeds to find Alan Clarke. Good swift turn there, taking him clear of McClintock, and now Bremner, faced by McNabb. Real cat and mouse again, and Jones, the length of a street offside. Clearly mesmerised by what Billy Bremner was doing and not looking at the Arsenal defenders around him. And so Barnett with a kick for Arsenal, finding McNabb. 20 minutes to go, still Leeds United 1, Arsenal 0. Radford. Graham, played it in nicely there for Radford. And now Clarke, onside, and it's 3 for Leeds against 2 from Arsenal. Lorimer wanting it, Clarke going on, and Clarke, really that was selfishness getting the better of him, because Lorimer was beautifully placed for the pass for a chance of a shot, and Clarke went on and on and on from an inferior position.
Well, in fact, you can play it one way or the other here, and Lorimer was asking for it, but knowing he was taking a man with him, was happy to leave Clarke that chance in the end, but look what he did with it.
And now Armstrong. And a free kick to Leeds. Billy Bremner, probably glad of his short sleeve shirt, I would think, this afternoon now. Pretty hot out there, pretty close. And Gray keeping it very close as well. And a shot across the goal! Tipped away well by Barnett. Difficult one for a goalkeeper to judge from Eddie Gray. And Barnett judged it beautifully.
He'll be happy that he's had the chance to make that contribution. He was diving across, pushed it away with the right hand to give away a corner. A fine save there by Jeff Barnett and a flash of good play from Eddie Gray.
The menacing figure of Jack Charlton up there again as Eddie Gray prepares to take another in-swinging corner for Leeds United. McNabb at the near post looking anxious. Playing it now instead to Lorimer. Deep again towards the far side where Madeley has come in and done a bit of pushing. And the first signs that Ray Kennedy is beginning to get stripped on the bench. There's Kennedy. Reaney, a long ball forward into the path of Alan Clarke. Here's another chance. Now he's playing it for Lorimer. Driving one. Well, as Arsenal push forward, looking for an equaliser, there's going to be these chances coming Leeds United's way. Now Kennedy waiting to come on, and I would think it might be Radford, would it be perhaps? And it's John Radford who's going off.
Yes, the last time John Radford played the ball, he looked very lacking in confidence, and he let Leeds come away with it into a very dangerous attacking position. Not his day, and Charlie George is left on for that fantastic shot that he keeps somewhere in that locker.
Hunter reading that well. What a good header out away. And McClintock just toe-ending it, and Barnett hesitating for a moment, but the whistle had gone. Mr. Hunting, the linesman from Leicester. Now Kennedy's first touch, and he makes it count, and nod on there towards Charlie George. Story. Graham back over his own head, hopefully getting somebody after it, but it's Harvey. Simpson. Reaney. Clarke. Bremner. Well, there was no way that Bremner could get past three Arsenal players, but he did, and he's found Peter Lorimer with this beautiful pass. Inside for Clarke. Leeds now looking with a lot of confidence. Bremner. A lot of assurance about them now. Gray, but he couldn't ride that tackle, and ball now to Kennedy. Ball. Rice will scamper to keep that one in. George Armstrong, who really hasn't shown a lot so far this afternoon, but there's a cross going towards Charlie George, but he was beaten in the air by Jack Charlton. Story to Graham. Armstrong wanting it on the far side and getting it. Oh, and a nice little header there, but will he be able to keep it in with Madeley pursuing him? And apparently that came off George Armstrong because it's the throw to Leeds. Giles. And now it's Arsenal's throw. Madeley and Hunter. Meanwhile, Celtic are romping away with the Scottish Cup final. 4-1 they lead Hibernian now, and Dixie Deans has scored a hat-trick. Armstrong and Giles right back deep in defence. Certainly you get the impression once Leeds have got hold of something, they're so reluctant to give it away. Leeds United's throw, and now just a fraction under a quarter of an hour left. Can Arsenal somewhere find a goal to keep this cup final alive for them? Hunter. And again, a Leeds United throw. Madeley. And Clarke. Lorimer up well, and so too was McClintock. McClintock. And a throw to Leeds. Jones beautifully beaten there by Alan Ball. And now Armstrong on the right there with time and a chance to cross it towards Charlie George. And now it'll come to Graham. Turned in again for Ball, and he couldn't get a foot to it before Bremner did. But Simpson now. Armstrong. A lot of Leeds players are back now. The long one towards George Graham, and he couldn't lift himself. Indeed, as I thought that was going to be a free kick to Leeds. It looked as though the referee was indicating that for a foul by Graham, but a throw, and it's with Bremner. McNabb. Ball. George Graham. And that's cut out by Jones. You'll just see how many men are back now for Leeds United. Really only Lorimer and Clarke are left up front. McNabb. Just those two Leeds United's attackers, as there's another tangle there. McNabb full of smiles, and Bremner helping him up. And a throw again. Back with McNabb. Graham. So little room, and Giles was in quickly, and it's another throw for Arsenal. They've not really got anyone with a good long throw, but that's one to Simpson, and now to McNabb. Off Bremner, so he gets another unexpected second chance. Kennedy going in, but Jack Charlton getting there before him. Rice. And Jones there with his head before any of them. Linesman, in fact, flagging there because Lorimer hit it with his hand, but the referee prepared to let it go on. McClintock to Ball. Not a good ball there, so easily and read there by Madeley, but Madeley losing it, and Gray helping him out of a spot. Jones. McClintock. Graham. Might be running into trouble. Giles was there. And a pass there that finds Alan Clarke. Bremner. Giles. A little over 10 minutes left now for Arsenal to find an equaliser, and it's Leeds in possession again with Giles. Simpson scurrying across there, and the ball going off him for another Leeds United throw. Leeds without a win in the 100 years of the FA Cup. Maybe they're going to be the winners in this centenary year. 1-0 up, and now just about 10 minutes left. Lorimer, I would think that the odds are he'll play a corner off Simpson, and he got a throw instead. So Bremner to take it. And another one. Lorimer. Somehow getting past Simpson, and that hasn't happened too often. Jones at the far side, too powerful even for him. But he kept it in obligingly for Frank McClintock. Hunter. Good bit of cool defence again by Norman Hunter. There's been some good defence at Wembley today. Hunter and Charlton and Reaney, and Simpson and McClintock. Here's Hunter. McNabb. And again Jack Charlton. Bremner. Played back for Jack Charlton. Ball. Kennedy to Alan Ball. Rice again, willingly over on the right in a bit of space. Ball again has found so little room in the middle. And that really is down to Giles and Bremner. Simpson to Graham. Rice. Charlie George, he tried to let that run for Ball to run on, but Hunter read it again so well for Leeds. Giles. Reaney. Reaney again. Leeds at the moment looking superbly in command. They really have got Arsenal in a grip at the moment, and there's a good ball there for Eddie Gray with Clarke over on the left. That must be the ball for... No, and down goes Barnett when Clarke was completely unmarked just outside the 6-yard area. Graham. And Hunter going through them all until he gets through Rice as well. Clarke back to Giles. Madeley. Giles. And Reaney to Billy Bremner. And on in turn to Peter Lorimer. Jones is in the middle. And Simpson giving away the corner. So now there's something like 7 minutes left. If you were an Arsenal supporter, Jimmy, what have they got to do now to pull this game round?
The first thing I would do would be to pray hard, because Leeds have got their foot on Arsenal's neck. They've got them in the vice there, and they're not letting them out of it. In fact, they're looking more like scoring than Arsenal are, although Arsenal are taking the risk and trying to push men up. But they're getting nowhere with it, and Leeds look more like getting two than Arsenal do an equaliser.
And there's Jack Charlton going in again on the far post. Hunter and Ball. Well, that looks like a free kick to Arsenal. Given against Norman Hunter on Alan Ball. And now Arsenal got to plant a few men forward with 6 minutes left. And Armstrong is one of them over on the right. Across there towards Charlie George, in with his head, and it's wide.
We can look at the cross here coming over. Charlie George does win it. It's a fair way from the post, as you can see, but he seems to have shown more life since Ray Kennedy has gone on the field. And obviously Kennedy is fresh and fit, and if they can get balls through to him, he may well provide the goal they want.
McClintock, but time running out so quickly now for Arsenal. Just about 6 minutes left. Giles to Gray. Shrugging off them all, and then playing the pass to Clarke that he should have played a few minutes earlier. Clarke. Lorimer. Got in some good crosses with a little bit of acceleration. It's taken him past the Arsenal defence, this time trying to dribble through them. And in fact, yes indeed, Bob McNabb was pulling back at that Lorimer shirt. And so another free kick for Leeds. And it'll be a few more seconds lost for Arsenal. Jack Charlton's gone up again, and Lorimer hitting one, and that went against the post. Barnett fractionally off that near post.
Just shows you why this man is the most powerful shot in the whole of the league, and the most accurate. A wonderful shot there, very unlucky.
Now Giles to Bremner. And now McClintock. Rice. McClintock. Story. Kennedy trying to lay it off the ball, but again Norman Hunter, who has been quite magnificent for Leeds United. Just as he was for England last week against West Germany. Hunter really having a tremendous run at the end of this season. Graham. Ball fighting for it, and with a little bit of luck winning it. McNabb. Graham. Missing just that yard or so of pace that's been needed in the middle of the field for Arsenal. And a foul against Reaney, and a free kick for Arsenal, and a chance for them to float, perhaps just a fleeting chance, into that Leeds United penalty area. Although Leeds now are pulling back everybody bar Peter Lorimer. So you can see the white shirts there raised in that Leeds United penalty area as Simpson takes the free kick again. Story leaving it to Charlie George. McClintock out to Story again. The cross that's going in deep. Alan Ball tried to nod it on, and it comes to the lone Leeds player who's up, Peter Lorimer, beaten by Rice, but falling for Bremner. All the urgency in his stride. Play on, says the referee, although the linesman was flagging. Bremner, Giles and Clarke. And Leeds are now just 3 minutes away from the Cup. The first time they've ever won the FA Cup. And it's with Eddie Gray. Turned in again for Mick Jones. And back by Story to Barnett as Lorimer went in. But in the noise, the whistle had gone and we hadn't heard it. And it's a free kick to Arsenal. Armstrong. Ball. Armstrong. Rice with his socks at his ankles, once more making the overlap, and a corner for Arsenal off Eddie Gray. And now just 2 minutes left. And everybody coming forward for Arsenal. McClintock's up there, Story's up there, Simpson is up there, and there's the corner again. And it won't fall for Arsenal. Kennedy coming back to retrieve it. Turning it against Jones. Kennedy again, leaving it for Frank McClintock. Inside now for Story. Some frantic whistles already beginning to come up from the Leeds United crowd, but there's still a minute and a half to go. Charlton for Clarke. Stopped by McClintock and Bob McNabb. Ball to Charlie George. Armstrong. It's got to be a last effort now for Arsenal. Armstrong to Charlie George. Kennedy. And the 1-2 wouldn't come back for him. Simpson, who's got a useful left foot, but that's too high for Alan Ball. And now Madeley to go striding away once more for Leeds United. 1 minute between Leeds United and their first ever FA Cup win. On the bench on the far side, Don Revie pointing, we want it down at that end. Keep it down at that end. And that wasn't the end he was referring to. Hunter will turn it back to Harvey. Snatching glances at their watches. Clarke. We're in the last half minute now. McNabb back to Barnett. One goal separated the two sides, scored by Alan Clarke. Kennedy hoping for the right bounce of the ball, and in fact finding Peter Simpson. A great game in defence, and now he's got to find something in attack. But it's Giles to Hunter, really my man of the match. And now Jones away. McClintock coming across. Barnett at the near post. Still Mick Jones! And down goes Barnett, and Jones really hadn't got the snap to go by him. And now Simpson. We're in injury time, and there's very little of it. Ball. Frantic whistles now from the Leeds supporters. George Graham. Ball now to Simpson. And Jack Charlton, big Jack at 36 years old, gets it away, and Leeds have won the FA Cup for the first time. They group around Don Revie. The Leeds fans go crazy. And Harvey has collapsed on the floor. No, it's Barnett. Barnett has down on the floor. And Barnett on his feet again. In fact, it was Jones who was down. wanting air. It was Barnett, in fact, in that cluster of photographers who'd gone down there to look to him. But Les Cocker giving him treatment and probably saying, son, we've won the cup. So Billy Bremner, the skipper, the inspiration, and Frank McClintock, the sporting loser, the man who won it last year and the man who couldn't win it this year. And Mick Jones still a long, long way from going up to collect his medal. So Leeds United, who were here in 1965 and were beaten by Liverpool, who were here in 1970 and lost on a replay to Chelsea, come back again. And nobody can deny that for all that they've done and all that they've achieved, that they are worthy of this. Jack Charlton running back across now to have a look at Mick Jones. And Les Cocker saying, give him some air. Obviously in a bad way, Mick Jones. He's obviously got a shoulder injury, I would think, and remembering, of course, that Leeds have got this vital match at Wolverhampton on Monday. I don't think Don Revie is even aware of it. I'm sure if Don were aware, there he is in the background, grasping Billy Bremner. I'm sure he would go. The Leeds players are going back. He's just realised it, Don Revie. And Billy Bremner now going towards the famous stairs. And the stretcher on for Mick Jones. What a tragedy at the end of this cup final for him. Really is quite badly hurt, it seems, Mick Jones. But while he's down there, the Leeds United players, Don Revie going across to see what he can do. And Leeds, while that's happening, are going up to get the cup. So Billy Bremner to get the cup from Her Majesty the Queen. The cup already with the white ribbons. Leeds get it for the first time in their history. In centenary year, the cup goes to Billy Bremner and Leeds United. Jack Charlton, at 36 years of age, he's been up those steps with England. And great to go up there as a winner with Leeds. Johnny Giles and Paul Reaney. And Paul Madeley, and that magnificent defender, Norman Hunter. Eddie Gray. David Harvey. And Peter Lorimer, the man who scored it, Alan Clarke. Mick Bates, the substitute. Meanwhile, down at the goal post there, Mick Jones on his feet. And now the turn of the losers, Arsenal, to go up. Frank McClintock and Jeff Barnett, after a nervous start, 1 or 2 fine saves in the second half. Peter Simpson, who, like Hunter, had a superb game at the back. Charlie George, who hit the crossbar, and George Armstrong, who never really showed. Ray Kennedy, who came on as a substitute, and George Graham. Bob McNabb, John Radford, who was pulled off. Pat Rice, Peter Storey. And you always think that Alan Ball would run up there to get his medal as well. He never stopped running through that 90 minutes. David Smith, who was stern and let nothing get out of hand. Jimmy, what do you think that is?
Well, the bandages that were put on him there as he's hobbling up are bandages for a broken arm, not for a dislocation. You would tend to hold the arm in a different position for a dislocation. I mean, if Les Cocker's diagnosis is correct, it looks as if, although it didn't look like that kind of serious accident, that's what he may have. But it's tremendously dramatic to see a player in that condition walking up to get his medal.
I think Mick Jones might be. Is he going up on his own? No, he's not. He's going up with Norman Hunter. One of the most dramatic Wembley occasions. Her Majesty the Queen waiting there to give the medal to the man who was injured and couldn't go up with the rest of his side, Mick Jones, the man who made the first goal and the only goal for Leeds United. They're crying, those Leeds United supporters. And Jones in agony, every step he takes, helped by Norman Hunter, to get a winner's medal from Her Majesty the Queen, and getting a tremendous roar from all around this Wembley Stadium. A great moment for Mick Jones. Well, that might keep him out, and it certainly will keep him out of that match at Wolverhampton on Monday night, but you need only one hand to pick up a medal from Her Majesty the Queen. So, a fiercely competitive cup final with that dramatic finish to it. Mick Jones, Jimmy, you still think it's a break deal or what?
Well, no, but the way he's gone up there now, I would say it's a dislocated shoulder. In fact, I dislocated my own shoulder last year, and I can tell you one thing, he's in some agony if he's done that. There's no way in which you can get comfortable.
So, Leeds parade the FA Cup. Some of the Arsenal players are making a lap of honour. Others, very disappointed indeed, are going off without doing so. Billy Bremner, who with Leeds has won the Fairs Cup, has won the Football League Cup, now has won the FA Cup. Alan Ball, a great worker, but the Arsenal legs are aching. Leeds, I would think, could go on doing laps of honour all night. Jeff Barnett, well, he certainly couldn't have been blamed for the one goal in the match, in spite of his nerves early on. Everybody gets a turn with the cup. Paul Reaney up there now. Alan Clarke with the top of the cup on his head. And Mick Jones on the stretcher. The other side to the Leeds story. And they're showing that to the Arsenal supporters at that end. You can imagine what it's going to be like when it comes down to the tunnel end, where the Leeds supporters have waited, and waited so long for this moment. Billy Bremner's turn to grab the cup again. David Harvey's got a hand on it too. David Harvey, the youngster who came in, and Mick Jones No lap of honour for him, a lap of another sort. Oh, but he gave him a wave. And he's giving him another wave, Mick Jones. You can imagine the reception he'll get to when he gets down to the tunnel. Well, Wembley brings its own brand of atmosphere and emotion. And we've had another full taste of it this afternoon. Jack Charlton's turn. And now Mick Jones coming towards those Leeds United supporters, giving him a clap.